You are tuned in to the Demo Man. That's right, whether you're cruising down the space lanes, doing some salvage, or just loading up your Caterpillar, stay tuned. In today's segment, we got news, killer tunes, and some killer details about what's going on in the verse. So keep your Moby Glass tuned in to this station. It is June 2955. My God, how the years keep flying and they don't slow down. So, remember, gentlemen, to always check them quantum drives to make sure that you have your jump module. We've been getting reports of pilots leaving their jump module at home and approaching the wormhole, and then having to backtrack all the way back to their home planet. Traffic in Stanton seems to be relatively regular. Thankfully, since Invictus is now over, Area 18 is no longer a space parking lot for people in the skies. We've had major traffic delays back during the last Invictus. As you may be aware, we had a lot of our listeners just hanging out above the landing pads hoping that the ATC will actually grant them a hangar. Alright, time for some killer tunes, then the news. Alright, listeners, I think I got you all warmed up here and ready for some news. Kick it into high gear after that, let the metal keep flowing so your ship keeps going. Alright, so we're going to look at the news relating to ASD, the shady corporation located in Pyro. I swear, ever since this regen crisis became a thing. Seems like all these shady businesses are coming out of the woodwork to make a quick buck. If you ask me, it's all done on purpose. That's right, there's a conspiracy. But I don't want to say that too loud, don't want the advocacy coming down here and breathing down our neck. So, let's go straight to it and see what's up with the news. So, ASD denies whistleblower claims. Company spokesman calls former employees' complaints vindictive. Yeah, I sure bet they do. In response to Terra Gazette's earlier story regarding claims from the former employee associated with science and development that the weapon manufacturer has been conducting illegal experiments, an ASD spokesperson released a statement today disputing the validity of these accusations. This particular person had been let go weeks ago for failing to complete their work and for being disruptive to their fellow employees. The fact that they only now have decided to come forward after repeated failed attempts at resecuring their employment with the company makes it clear that this is at best a misguided, or at least at worst, vindictive. Bull. I say absolute bull. We all know what ASC have been up to. We've heard the stories. Giant killer worms. Radioactive storms located to only 2 poles on the planet. Man-made storms, in fact. A planet that's almost in perpetual darkness, where it rains eternally. Man, sounds like they built a replication of Manchester, England from the early 20th century. So, moving forwards, let's see what other news there is. You guys remember that rogue Polaris, right? I sure as hell do. It's hard to miss. So we got some news related to that. Suspect charged in Polaris theft. Navy starman accused of being Frontier Fighters sympathizer. Well, of course. How else did they get their hands on a Polaris? Well, let's be honest. The UAE Navy's security measures have been pretty lax lately, and we'll get to that later. Stanton's system, following the major breach at last month's Invictus Launch Week event, which allowed the terrorist organization Frontier Fighters to gain access to a United Empire of Earth Navy Polaris corvette. Investigators have been trying to piece together how such an originatus lapse in security could have happened. Yesterday, a major break in the investigation was reached when Navy starman Ali Bojang was arrested by the advocacy for their alleged involvement. Public records show that Bojang's sibling, convicted criminal Dal Twister Bojang, was a known member of the Pyro-based gang, the Headhunters, and is believed to have been killed late last year by rival outlaws. It is suspect that Bojang blamed the unregulated star system for her sibling's demise, and was converted by Frontier Fighters leader Amelia Boyd to the cause. The Terra Gazette has been able to confirm it was Bojang's access codes that the Frontier Fighters used to illegally gain access to the naval fleet. Well, 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 wouldn't you look at that? All those background checks and DNA checks and history checks and God knows what other kinds of checks and balances didn't do jack. Not to stop a bunch of Polarises falling into the wrong hands. I mean, this is the UAE Navy we're talking about. The people that are meant to keep us safe, keep us secure, make sure the Vandal menace and other alien threats stay at bay. Well, it seems almost like the UAE Navy is being underfunded, if you ask me, and I'll blame that new leader of ours. Well, relatively new. We got her for another 5 years. In other news, the Empire honored the First Contact Day, 5 centuries of Xeno-human relations celebrated across the UAE. Ain't that a joke? Yeah, sure, we may have first contact, but that doesn't stop the Banu trading in human slaves. If it was down to me, I would have nuked him from orbit. I mean, let's be real here, people. These aliens are not our friends. They trade in humans. They also are at war with us in most cases, or at least a cold war. The giant turtles, who we're not allowed to call turtles, and the walking prunes, also known as the Banu, aren't exactly our friends. Tavarin, huh? We managed to beat those guys twice. But let's be real here. The threat still exists, yet we accept them into the Empire as if they were our own. Ha ha ha. And they thought frontier fighters are bad. Just wait till the Tavarin get organized again and we're gonna have a real problem. Not to mention the Vandul. At least the Vandul are honest with their intentions. Unlike the Banu. And now, what's this Wicklow guy doing in our star system? I mean, let's be real here, folks. I don't trust him for 1 minute. Guy doesn't take credits and he trades in rare goods. Seems like a way to dodge tax if you ask me. I say we take a look at this Wicklow guy under the microscope in the future. Talking about alien threats. Invasive species getting worse. A new report from the ECES shows invasive populations skyrocketing. Dangerous mutations on the rise. Well, I can give you the answer to that, but you're not gonna like it. Also, we got news related to the regen crisis, which seems to be affecting everybody apart from 10% of the population. Pretty interesting if you ask me. Does a rare gene hold the secret to regen? A new study claims that a gene carried by less than 10% of the population may be the key to successful imprints. So you better watch what you're doing out there and don't keep flying by the seat of your pants, cause next time you might just be space dust. Let's get back to the tunes, where demo never stops, and the music always rocks. So, thank you for tuning in. If you're just catching the show now, that's right, we got some killer tunes lined up. Perhaps today you're just moving some cargo, or doing a little mining, maybe some salvage. Let us know, drop a line, give me some info, let me know what you're doing while you're listening to the Demo Man Radio Show. Today, nothing special, right? Just July the 3rd. Nothing out of the ordinary. Or is it? There's a certain feeling across the verse right now of unease. A sense of something wrong. We have this regen crisis. It doesn't seem to be talked about too much, but you can see crowds of people huddled around outside the medical areas. The news tells us not to worry. They're looking into a solution. Meanwhile, at the same time, you got this Banu person moving into the Stanton system. What do you know? Sources tell me he's looking for the exact same materials that the people are looking for to fix this regen crisis. It's almost like this Wicklow guy doesn't want the problem to be solved. Maybe there's a hidden Banu agenda we don't know about. Food for thought. Highly recommend that you look at the news next time and look a little closer just to make sure you're getting the full picture, because something tells me there's something else going on. So, we got this Imperator, right? Who's in charge during this crisis. I mean, this Addison person comes out of nowhere, right? And mysteriously gets voted in, going under the guise of progress, education, innovation, science first. All that mumbo-jumbo buzzword bull. But let's be real here. The first thing she did was loosen the current restrictions on AI research to allow for the exploration of new ideas and innovations that would benefit the Empire. It's almost like she's forgotten about the reason we have this. The UNE was created in 2380. Its architects included AI restrictions in its earliest laws. United Planets of Earth, UPE, and the UEE kept the AIRPRA in place during their formations, and it remains the law of the land. You know why that is, right? Because back then, back before we were cruising around Stanton, minding our own business, that was a little bit of a robotic problem, you could say, a ghost in the machine. And it was possibly the biggest threat to humanity we've ever faced. Then this Edison character comes out of nowhere And the first thing coming out of her mouth is, take a wild guess, folks. Yeah, you already know. The first thing she saw was a Jean ship. A Jean ship. She said that she found its presence beautiful but menacing. She stood awestruck at the spaceport. I mean, let's be real here. We got ourselves a Jean sympathizer. If you ask me, we might just have us a snake on the inside. Corruption from the top down, if you know what I'm saying. The UE Navy was always meant to represent humanity, represent the working man, represent us, the people that keep it afloat. Hell, if it was down to me, I would have gone for someone a little bit more reliable, either Titus Costigan. I mean, let's be real here. Costigan, unfortunately, had a bit of a bad rap because his history, going back to the time of the Messers, is pretty ugly. But let's be real here. You can't blame someone for the sins of the forefathers, can you now? If we were to carry blame forwards, we'd all be guilty of something. This Addison chick believes that she knows what's best for the UEE, what's best for us, what's best for humanity. She'll fight to reshape the UEE central government into an institution that improves the lives of its constituents by cultivating knowledge and inspiring change. A new empire awaits us if we're brave enough to create it. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and a whole lot of us already know that. I mean, just look at it out there in the verse right now. Since this Addison character's been in power for what now? 5 years? We got a regen crisis, Banu moving in left and right, Vandul attacks, the United Empire Earth's navy falling apart, corrupted from the inside, Polaris's and other naval craft falling into terrorist hands. I mean, it's a mess. Take a look out there, folks. The only thing keeping us from us and the beasts is the volunteers such as yourself, the brave members of our militias, people who bring the law into their own hands, men and women of the UEE Navy who put their lives on the line, even if it is for a broken, corrupted, bloated system which is being reworked by an absolute nutcase, if you ask me. No, Addison, I don't think you're the one. I don't think you're the one to lead us out of this dark age that you plunged us into. Sure, the writing may have been on the wall that things were bad, but now things are worse than bad. I mean, just look around here. 10 credits buys a credit's worth. Fuel prices going through the roof. Traders can barely break even. Salvage claims costing almost as much as the cargo that you'll get in return. Pirates running wild, absolutely unchecked. Bounties going through the roof with not enough bounty hunters to take them all on. It seems, Addison, like the universe that you're trying to build for us is a hellscape where no one gets out alive apart from your Jean buddies. That's right, I'm calling you out. I think you've got Jean influence written all over you, Addison. Tired of people paying for your mistakes. Good citizens, the UEE, lawful, good, healthy people, trying to rebuild this empire on their backs, are paying the price for your mistakes. I'm tired of it. That's right. I don't have a problem with the UEE. I think the UEE Navy does a fine job with the tools it's got. Even with one hand tied behind its back and blindfolded, the Navy is still doing its damnedest to keep this damn empire going. But no, it's not good enough for you, Addison. You want to take precious resources away from our militaries, apart from our defenders of humanity, and spread it amongst all the systems within the empire in the form of technological advancement. Let's be real here, Edison. You want to bring AI back to the forefront when it nearly wiped us out. Not such a good idea if you ask me. But I'm going to be real here. Credits aren't going as far as they used to. I remember when 5,000 credits used to be a lot. Now it's more like 50,000 credits to be able to get anything. Where the hell happened? What happened to our universe? fuel crisis where quantum fuel is becoming more and more scarce, ammunition becoming more costly, and don't even get me started on the price of missiles. Seems like we're firing them off quicker than we can reproduce those damn things. Mining and salvage teams complaining they can't even break even these days. It's rough, Stanton. I know it's rough. But we will get through this together, because humanity always triumphs. Alright, citizens, let's get back to the music. Some more metal coming straight off the slab. So, what you doing out there right now in the verse? All I know is it's 5 o'clock somewhere and we need to get some more music going. So, we got a little bit more of a news report going here. Heard stories here of various planets in the Stanton system and beyond preparing to offer goodies for those who are willing to help out in the regen crisis. Even Hurston, that's right, the planet that wouldn't even give you a sick day if you were permadead, are actually planning on handing out armor, weapons, even specific paint codes for our ships, you know, decals and resprays, anyone knows what else. Can't believe it. Hurston, the planet where they expect you to put a bag over your head and get back to work, are actually giving away things for free. Gotta be a catch here if you ask me. Hurston don't even give the air away for free. As for ArcCorp, everything seems to be relatively normal here. Raining a little bit more than normal these days, but that's to be expected. So, what are you up to in the verse right now? Let us know on Spectrum. Moving some cargo? Mining some rocks? Perhaps you're doing a little salvage and you're cutting apart a ex-pirate ship. Or maybe you're a mercenary or a bounty hunter out there on the fringes, keeping this great empire of ours safe. Let us know. Drop a line and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Alright, time to get back to the music, where the music never stops, and Demo Man always try to make it rock. I hope that hard dose of metal woke you up, because it's time to load some cargo, fire off a few shells, perhaps even toss a goddamn grenade. So, how you doing out there, listeners? It's getting on in the day, and I hope you hard-working people of our great UEE are having a great day or night, depending on what side of the planet you're on, because we're gonna keep on rocking and we're not gonna stop. How's your day going? Let us know. Contact us on the spectrum. Perhaps call into the show and we'll have a chat, talk about this great empire of ours, or perhaps just what's going on in your world. Got a few more tunes lined up for you, groovy citizens who love to rock where it never stops. Hope you're having a fantastic time out there, whether you're blowing up pirates or moving boxes. Perhaps you're moving boxes so you can kill some more pirates. Or perhaps you're listening to me from your outpost, and you suddenly see a ship that you don't recognize who's trespassing on your territory. You know Demo Man's rule. If it's new in town, shoot it down. Alright, let's get more tunes going. Just like the one-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Oh wait, wrong song. Alright, so some guys down here in the studio are having a little bit of a disagreement. Now, some of us think that the Cutlass is superior to the Constellation. However, I believe the Constellation mounts a little bit more firepower and packs a little bit more of a punch, but they're saying the Cutlass is a little bit more mobile and easier to maintain. What do you think? Let us know on the spectrum. What ship is it that you live in? Me personally, I prefer something over a Constellation, maybe a Starlancer Tech, if I'm not aboard our flagship, that is. Alright, you keep on rocking out there, citizens. Keep those lasers hot, missiles ready, ballistics turning. Don't give up any quarter to those pirates, because you know they won't show you any mercy, so don't give them any in return. Alright, citizens, keep on fighting. Looks like that's gonna do it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in and kicking back with the Demo Man. See you around. Remember, stay tuned to this channel same time. Catch you next time, citizen. You know the drill. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.